Hey, welcome back to the channel, and today's video is entitled The Road to the World Cup, and it's going to be more the road to the World Cup final, because we're going to look at some of the games that could possibly occur, likely results based on recent history and also based on the world rankings, which are not the best data sets to base predictions on, but that's all we have at the moment. So yeah, we're gonna have a look at some of the key points, that are kind of choke points that are gonna occur in the tournament, and see what could happen. So yeah, let's get on with the video. Now we have four groups: Group A, B, C, and D. Group A and B are on their side of the draw. Groups C and D are on their side of the draw. Like one of those teams from A and B, one of those teams from C and D are going to get to the final. Now, based on the world rankings, which I think is reasonable to go off in terms of the group stage, from Group A qualifying teams, you'd have France in first place and New Zealand in second. Group B, Ireland and South Africa, first and second. C, Australia, Wales. And then D, England, Argentina. As you can already see, the balance of the both halves of the draw is a little bit unbalanced, but that's okay. We're going to run with it and see how it plays out. So in the quarterfinal, based entirely on the world rankings. Now, this is the rationale that I have for the video, as initially, is that I'll base it off the world rankings. So in the quarterfinal on Group A and B, you have France versus South Africa. So that will be a quarterfinal match. Then in the second quarterfinal, you have Ireland versus New Zealand. In Group C and D, Australia versus Argentina, and Wales or England versus Wales. Semi-final, you'd have Ireland, France, and Australia, England. And then based in just on the world rankings, you'd have in the final Ireland versus England. Wow, so you'd have two Northern Hemisphere teams in the final for the first time, I think, ever. Now that would be amazing if you're from the Northern Hemisphere. As a secondary analysis in the quarterfinals and semi-finals, I wanted to go into the recent history of the teams, and I chose the last three games. So for example, France versus South Africa. Remember, France at home as well. So South Africa, France won the last game that they played together, but the previous two South Africa won. So South Africa up 2-1 in that competition. Ireland, similar, but in Ireland's case, because of the tour last year, they've won the last two contests that the teams have played, and New Zealand have the third. So it's 2-1 again. Australia, Argentina, and Argentina have won the last two, so they have the momentum there. England, Wales. England won the last two, and Wales won the third one. So if you're going on recent history, on recent form, then France would beat South Africa, Ireland would beat New Zealand, Argentina would beat Australia, and England would beat Wales. So those are based on the results of the last three matches. Okay, so in the semi-final, you would have Ireland versus France. So Ireland versus France. Ireland have just won the last game against the French, and the French won the previous two. So again, is Ireland's momentum going to take them through to the final? Again, a very big hurdle for them to cross is even getting to the semi-final. And then Australia, England have won the last two there. So what you've got to remember, all of those quarterfinals have a significant amount of recent history, as well as a lot of long-term history. And Ireland winning the first Test series ever in New Zealand last year was like an amazing result, and that really initiated the self-doubt within New Zealand rugby, because Ireland got that win, and they lost the first Test quite heavily actually, and then they came back and won the last 2 tests. So Ireland definitely have the upper hand there, but New Zealand will have something to prove if they do play Ireland in the quarterfinals. France and South Africa. South Africa have a good record against France. France are a very physical team, but France got the upper hand in Paris when they played in the November internationals. But you could say South Africa were robbed in that game, which I think would be a fair statement. Robbed maybe is a bit extreme, but definitely South Africa had the opportunity to win that game. So France don't traditionally do very well against the South Africans, I don't think. So South Africa definitely have a chance to take that match. Australia, Argentina. Now, Argentina have beaten Australia the last couple of times. And while it's all usually, apart from that one game last year's Rugby Championship in Argentina, when Argentina absolutely flayed the Aussies, I think usually it's a pretty close game, so that could go either way, I think. But based on recent results, Argentina have to be the favourite for that. Wales, England, the old enemies, Welsh supporter, as you may or may not know. And yeah, but England have definitely had the upper hand recently, and Wales are going through all kinds of problems, so I can't really see England losing that match if they do play in the quarterfinals. So moving on to the semi-finals, I think it's interesting to look at a couple of kind of possibilities. So Ireland, if South Africa get past France, now that's a big ask because France are playing at home, and everybody knows that the World Cup will give you a certain advantage, whether it's a soccer World Cup or a Rugby World Cup or any kind of World Cup. Playing on home soil definitely increases your chances to win. But South Africa are certainly capable of winning. If they do, then it'll be South Africa in the semi-final against Ireland or New Zealand. If it's Ireland versus South Africa, then Ireland have won the last 2 games that South Africa have played against Ireland, and so that they would definitely be confident going into that game. On the other hand, if New Zealand and South Africa play, they have one game yet to play this summer before the World Cup. So that's kind of undecided now, how that's going to go. But at the moment, New Zealand have the upper hand with 2 wins out of the last 3. Okay, let's move on to bolters. So bolters is an expression they use. So it's kind of the long shot in the tournament, long shot in the race. And bolters come from the CD side of the group, the right side of the group, of the draw, let's say. And I picked Georgia and Fiji because mainly they're in Wales group. So Wales are there for the taking at the moment. I mean, Georgia and Fiji got to fancy their chances a lot. And if whichever team pulls it together, and I fancy the Georgians, to be honest, if they pull it together, they could get through to the quarterfinals, which means they would face England. Now, England would be a stiffer opposition, I think, than Wales in that case. But, it would be great for them to get out of the group and into the quarterfinals. So, are we looking at a Northern Hemisphere final, or do you think one of the Southern Hemisphere sides will turn over the Northern Hemisphere sides? And based on the stats, I think South Africa have a good chance against France, and I will say New Zealand. Obviously, you never count them out, but based on recent results, it's not really going towards them. But yeah, so South Africa, if they can get through that quarterfinal, they have a great chance. And the right side of the draw is just Australia, England, really. Which one of those two are going to come through? What I will say is that all of the teams have an amazing amount of history behind them. In researching this video, I was looking like how many games the teams have played against each other, and it's unbelievable. The sport has been going on for a long time. It's fantastic. We have this history to kind of delve into, and yeah, the quarterfinal stage is going to be the key key point in this tournament, and I think it'll all pan out from there. So this video is just an idea of like to get everyone ready of what we can expect and where like the key point in the tournament is, and I think I've identified that as the quarterfinals. The group stage I think will go very much according to the statistics, but as soon as we get to the quarterfinal, I think everything to play for, and I think teams will be prepping for that. Yeah, so thank you very much for listening. Hope you enjoyed the video, and it's building you up and like informing you on what to expect when the World Cup actually hits. We have a lot more games this summer, so let's enjoy the rugby, and I'm really looking forward to the World Cup tournament in France. So yeah, if you've watched this far, please like and subscribe, share, and I'll speak to you next time. All right, thank you very much. Bye-bye.